Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the first 2-bit review of 2022. And I decided to start this year off by taking a look at a trilogy of superhero games. You might even say it's an unholy trilogy. And to start it off with, we're going to be looking at Aquaman, Battle for Atlantis on the Nintendo GameCube. Let's jump right in. Aquaman, Battle for Atlantis is an action game developed by Lucky Chicken Studios and published by TDK. Now wait a minute. Didn't they do another game? Oh no, no, God no! Aquaman was released in the summer of 2003 for the original Xbox and GameCube. The game is based on Peter David's run with DC's Aquaman. Aquaman is a part of a long-term deal that TDK made with DC to create games based on DC's franchises. And it's because of this deal that TDK became an absolute powerhouse of a publisher. And that is all hogwash what I'm saying, as with games like, Shrek, TDK, closed their doors because Shrek sucked. There, I said it. So, with these lack of details out of the way, let's go under the sea in this review. Aquaman can be broken down into two gameplay categories, an action beat-em-up mode and a shoot-em-up mode. When playing the action levels, Aquaman must first swim around the sea looking for Atlanteans to save and baddies to beat up. This portion of the game gives me slight Superman 64 vibes with how Aquaman swims around the big empty areas. The controls handle poorly here. You can do button combos to deal out damage, call sea creatures to your aid, but I found button mashing to work far better for me. Luckily, the enemy AI is dumb as bricks and doesn't punish you for poor combo execution. Just remember to block every once in a while and you will overcome all of your enemies. The camera is the biggest challenge when you fight enemies. The camera stays in a fixed position, which can be disorienting when having to switch between different enemies to fight. In the shooter portion, Aquaman pilots a sub. This portion of the game handles a bit better on the control side of things, but I found it to be mediocre as the enemies are dumb and present no challenge outside of their numerical advantage, and with that, they can wear down your sub's health. Keeping with the running theme here, level design is also mediocre. Aquaman will be swimming through primarily big open areas with a few close quarter levels sprinkled in. The sub-level, and I will say level because the only thing that changes are the enemies. This level is a big open area you sail / drive / fly through. Well, whatever the hell a sub does underwater, that's what you're going to be doing. One good thing about the sub-level is it is used lightly to break up the monotony of the action portions of this game. Aquaman's gameplay feels incomplete, like they rushed production. There is a game here, but it seems like I'm playing an early build of the game and not the full release, as the enemies lack any real challenge and the levels are big and open, but there's not a whole lot going within them. Gameplay gets 1 bit.
I'd buy that for $1.
Out of 4. The sound quality is good. Sound effects have an impact and resonance to them, but the soundtrack is rather lacking and doesn't really have a hook to it. It sounds like the development team went to generic comicbookheromusic.com to buy tracks for the game. There is no voice work in this game at all, which this era of video games typically had fully voiced games. I guess voice acting was not in the budget for this title. Sound gets 2 bits.
I'd buy that for $1.
Out of 4. Okay, so let's get this out of the way real quick. I figured out why the AI is so dumb, why the levels are big, open, and empty, and why the game lacks voice acting. The budget for this title went into Aquaman's hair. I mean, look at those luscious underwater hair physics for the time. Maybe, just maybe though, we could have, I don't know, put a little less effort in this and made an overall better game? No? Okay, it was just a thought. Great hair underwater is, I guess, where the budget should have went. Cutscenes are not done in-game engine, instead they opted for still images presented in a comic book format. I think these images look great, and given the lack of voice acting, was the best option for this game. The characters and environments look great, although the levels being empty and devoid of anyone other than a handful of villains and a couple of Atlanteans that need to be saved, makes this part of the game's experience hollow. The story synopsis is as follows. Atlantis is suffering from sporadic attacks that is revealed to be Black Manta. Through his terrorist actions, Manta intends to destroy all of Atlantis. Aquaman has to swim through the seas, foiling Manta's plots to save his people and Atlanta itself. It is revealed all this chaos is not being controlled by Manta, but Aquaman's brother, Ocean Master. A similar run of levels and scenarios play out just like with the Manta ones. Aquaman is ultimately victorious over his brother, the Ocean Master. The story feels like it was ripped right out of a graphic novel. While I was not invested in the characters or story really, I do appreciate the work that was put into its presentation. So, with luscious Aquaman locks, a solid story but an empty world, I give presentation 2 bits.
I'd buy that for $1.
Out of 4. Aquaman Battle for Atlantis is pretty mediocre. There's not a whole lot to draw me in and keep me there. It's pretty empty, and I feel that maybe a little bit more development time, maybe if they put a little bit more effort, it could have went from a mediocre game to a decent game, but they just never got there. So my final verdict for Aquaman Battle for Atlantis on the Nintendo GameCube, and honestly, the original Xbox, is a recommended pass for the casual and a possible look for the hardcore collector of both those systems. You can find Aquaman Battle for Atlantis for around $5 to $11 depending on its condition. And with that said, this review is done. Now we are going to be continuing through this unholy trilogy of superhero games with Superman, Man of Steel for the original Xbox. I hope you guys tune in next month. That's the next game I'm going to be taking a look at. And with all of that said, thanks for watching, guys. Please smash that like button, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and ding the bell. That way you don't miss a thing we are doing here on the channel. And as always, stay safe and play on.